Good afternoon. My name is Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com. Welcome to today's recap and look ahead. I'm going to be quick because I got to catch a ferry. It's been a long week. I think ever since election night, when we roll up until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, watches the futures go down 80, 90 handles to go limit down to then a gracious speech by Donald Trump unifying his party, unifying both parties. All of a sudden, futures cut in half to the downside, and then we opened up on Wednesday, and we haven't really looked back since. It's been a little bit of a different dynamic, though. Lots of other sectors that haven't been strong have been strong. Some stocks that were used to being leaders have faltered. So it's been a little bit of a push-pull and a lot of divergences. So you have to just be aware of that. Overall, the S&P cash, you look at this, okay, really nice move. Bottom line, okay, we were at 2,080 a week ago yesterday, okay, and now we hit a high of 2180. So we went 100 handles in a week, besides where we were on election night. So I would love, I'm telling you, love if we could just hang here for another session or so. Hang above this descending channel with today's low of 2151 being the low, and then with a little bit of time, I would think that we take this out with authority. Okay, obviously traders like, a little continuity. We like to do things on our own time frame. It's not saying the market's going to do that, but overall, if you look symmetrically, it would make sense for tomorrow to be some kind of inside day. So if we can get a few inside days above this descending channel here, I would think we go to highs and we could probably go to 2240-ish, and that's exactly what I just told Patty Don from CNBC. So you might see that as a top article on their CNBC homepage. But anyway, here's your move. A little sideways digestion would be nice for a continuation. What's been hot? Woohoo! XLF, banks. Boom. Look at that move in the banks. The banks have had a tremendous move. So the question is, what do you do now with the banks? What do you do now with the banks? If you were long on this breakout, you trim some. Okay, 90-degree move to the upside, I would not be buying on the close today. But if you're shorting on the close today, I think it's a little dangerous too. So you avoid. Gap up tomorrow, maybe you short some for some kind of topping tail. If it happens to get an inside day, little digestion above this last candlestick, and then maybe it goes again. You look at something like Goldman Sachs, which we've talked about in the morning note, the strongest and best in breed, way ahead of the curve beforehand, breaking out. Look at that, above the 8 and 21 days since October. What do you do with stocks above the 8 and 21 day? You try and be long them, not short them. So at this point, big move, but very extended from the 8 days. So like I said before, probably not a long now, or if you're in some and you're saying I'm going to be in some through the first quarter of next year, stay in some but being very light. And if you day trade, you open up tomorrow, we come lower, you short a little bit, maybe, open down, you buy a little bit, but overall, very strong, but not the time to be all in. Same thing goes for something like JP Morgan. Wow, why does that keep coming up? Just to show you what the banks have done. Okay, big move. And all banks are not created equal. In the morning call today, I talked about if you've been long JP Morgan, you've done unbelievable. It's one of the first few banks at, back at, I think, all-time highs. And look at this clean breakout. They say Jamie Dimon should be Treasury Secretary. So do I. One of the things that irked me is when I tweeted the fact, I'm like, Jamie Dimon would be a great Treasury Secretary. Someone's like, well, why don't we just put Bernie Madoff in there? I'm like, you know why? Because Bernie Madoff is a crook. He broke the law. He went to jail. He ruined his family. That's not what all Wall Street is. As soon as we get away from these generalizations, I think America will move forward from this election because there's just too much of that. So you can't put Bernie Madoff and Jamie Dimon in the same sentence just because they work on Wall Street. We got to get away from that stuff. But I won't preach or rant anymore about that. So what other sectors have been really good? XLI, look at this. Powerful move to the upside. Nice breakout here. This is on your weekly chart. Wow. So on the weekly chart, the industrials made a move. So now you have the industrials and the banks. That's why the Dow Jones is already at highs of the year. Okay. So look at that. Boom. Breakout to love. I wish this was in some of the names that I track a little closer because I would have had a better week. But this week was just fine. Look at the breaking of this descending channel here. And boom. All right, one of the things that I guess we focus on that's on the go-to list, which I've been trying to put other stocks in there, is tech. And tech has been weak. Everyone's like, how could the market break out if this is what the Qs did today? Qs had basically a pretty big engulfing day, came off the lows at the end of the day. It's still hanging around, but this is not what you expect to see. You'd usually see this in new highs before everything else. So, market always wants to make everyone scratch their head. So at this time, just let it work itself out, okay, for a little bit. in this land in high beta tech. I think, I was talking to guys that trade for momentum. They're like, they had a great day shorting these things. Why did they short these things? Because they broke pivots that we've been watching, and they were weak yesterday. The Dow was up 200-something points. These things were all down. So today they opened down and went red so quick. They were, relative weakness shorts, not longs. So anyway, what are they now? You look at Google. This broke this spot right here, gave people a good short to fill the gap, and now held the 200-day. Doesn't look good. Doesn't look like a long, but you have to really hate these things to be shorted overnight. I would just wait. Amazon also broke its pivot. What do I mean by breaking its pivot? This is what I mean. It means this was your post-earnings low, and it broke it. And where did it go? Oh, what a quinky thing, to the 200-day. Broke this bear flag. Okay, at this point, I guess you could be shorted. I would just rather avoid and say, you know what? It's broken. It's below all the moving averages. It's holding this for now. I don't know exactly. What if Trump says he, doesn't dislike Amazon, is not going after them like he said in the pre-election stuff. But anyway, at this point, I would just avoid it, okay? If you made some money buying it on the 200-day, great. If you made money shorting it here for that move, even better. Now it's, a little noisy. Facebook also. Facebook probably had the biggest bounce back, but a lot of you guys probably made good money when it broke this pivot. What's this pivot? This pivot was about 119 and a quarter, went as low as 115 and change, and then bounced off it. So two ways to trade it. And it reclaimed the 200-day, but this does not look like a long. Okay, it looks like more of a short, or just traded on a 3 and 5 minute chart. I came in long Apple. Apple, thank goodness, tried to go, and then the morning low, I got out. Why did I get out? Because it went red. Why do I get out when it goes red? Because who knows where it's going to go, and I knew it was weak yesterday. So if you look at Apple, basically, it too broke the 200-day, broke this support. So if you didn't get out when it went red, you could have got out when it broke 109.70 or here. Okay, now this too is just, very noisy and doesn't really look good. Hold on, I need to get a little drink. I'll promote Starbucks again. You want to see what I drink? Starbucks. This is water. It was an iced coffee. And then the metals and the miners. Day of the election, a day after, I said sell gold. I don't like gold. Okay, and this is what happened with gold. Boom. You could have sold it right into resistance. I was right on the Redler all-access note. Today you had downside follow-through, and now it looks broken, like it's going to go back down to this spot. But you really need to sit there and, it might hang out for a day, but all in all, gold does not look good. And the miners look worse. I've been beating up on miners for a while. You had a breaking of this intermediate trend here, a retest there, and then it got sold on post-election day and had downside follow-through, and now this looks like a pretty friggin' ugly head and shoulders top pattern for those who are long, so hopefully not long, and it's going to need some crazy downside follow-through to break this neckline, but this looks very vulnerable. So I would not be long this. I did the Schwab state of the market, and I talked yesterday also on how gold and the miners are a sell, and let's see if this continues to the downside. The new issues gave a small bounce. I came in long Twilio. It was up, sold some strength. As soon as it went red, what did I do when it went red? I sold it, because if it goes red, it can go lower. Sometimes it goes lower, makes a pivot, then I buy it back, but I never know where it's going to go when it goes red. So if I'm long it and it's a broken name, I get out. And here is your Twilio. Okay, whole lot of nothing. I thought perhaps it could break above the 8-day and see a little bit higher towards the 21-day. It didn't. But that was my plan, and now we'll see what happens next. I thought maybe it could do what ACI did, where ACI broke above the 8-day, and we talked in the morning call also, saying maybe you can get to the 21-day and you sell it. And it went to the 21-day, and it was sold. Now it's a whole lot of nothing. And as earnings after the close, who knows what's going to happen there? It could be up, into this spot or not. We'll see. But that's, a trade for tomorrow. But we don't take stock into earnings, and, especially now since it's pretty broken. Some one-offs, Shack, remember that stock? Craziness. Big move, it's been broken. I guess there's a big gap here. Maybe it comes back to life a little bit. Then you have X and FCX. Wow, what a move. Started perking up. Remember when X came out and they missed earnings and they bought it? Well, I guess that was a sign that it was in the game, and then it cleared this resistance, and now look, boom. Big gap here. Some guys have been shorting it from here. I don't know if it's a short. I don't think it's a long. Give it some time. Could see at least up to here or more. And that's it. I think a pause in the S&P cash would be nice. Holding 2140 to 2150 on the right side of that descending channel would go a long way. The banks, strong. But today I would have been selling, not buying more on the close. But if you're going home shorted, you're guessing that, it's overbought enough that you'll just get a gap down. I would think, wait, if they're up a little bit more, it's more conducive. High beta tech has been broken, okay? Started yesterday, the day after the election, and today it got its continuation. If you're shorted overnight, a little risky, but I think if you had to be long or short, short is what I would be, but I don't have to be either or, so I'm flat. I'm going to wait to see how it reacts and wait to see, if it really continues. And it's been a good week. And we have our president. He's trying to bring things together. Jekyll and Hyde, right? The pre-election, post-election. Let's hope that, I don't know which is the good one, which is the bad one, Jekyll or Hyde. But right now we have, the presidential Donald who's trying to make things happen and make things work. So let's just be optimistic. Let's have glass half full. Let's keep trading, and let's stop worrying about the noise around us, and be a good person for your mom, your dad, your kid, your brother, your aunt, and that's how you could help besides ranting and raving about what's going on, in the political arena. And that's that. I'll be at Short Hills tomorrow, and hopefully we'll converse then. Have a good night.